Hello, you guys. I am bringing you Sunday school lesson number 2 from my in-home office today. Sorry it has taken me a really long time to get it loaded on this wonderful, beautiful, sunny Sunday. I have been Zoom chatting with a lot of you guys today, all morning this morning actually, and it has been incredible. I've gotten to see a lot of your faces, check in with you guys, so I've really enjoyed that. So I'm sorry that this took so long to upload, but that's what I was doing and it was awesome. Please use the Sign Up Genius link that I sent out in an email to sign up for a 10-minute slot to check in with me on Zoom. It's really fun, and you might even get to see my dogs, and they are not in here right now, but if we Zoom chat, I will show them to you. Anyway, today's lesson, we are learning about the story of Daniel. Daniel is a very confusing guy. A lot of really strange, weird things happen to this man. And we are going to dissect it and kind of take him apart a little bit and learn a little more about him. So today we are going to learn the first little part of his very crazy journey in the Bible. To start off, I'm going to give you some background on him so that we don't have to read all of that. It is very confusing. So I'm going to use a map to try to help you guys out. Okay, Daniel was on the Judean court, which is in, guess what, Judah, in Jerusalem. So that is here, if you can see it. Boom, there's Jerusalem in Judah. That's where Daniel is at this point in the story. Then the Babylonians come over. Now the Babylonians are way over here, and they come migrating over here, and they kick in the door, and they take over Jerusalem. It is not pretty, it's not good. Daniel is still there, and the king of the Babylonians, way over here, comes over here, and his name is super weird and ridiculous. I think you've heard of it before. It's King Nebuchadnezzar. So King Nebuchadnezzar decides to take Daniel and the rest of the Judean court from Jerusalem, way over here, to the Babylonians, to Babylon, and kind of make him his court. So Daniel has now gone from Jerusalem over to Babylon with the king with the weird name, King Nebuchadnezzar, and that is where we are in the story. Now, one day, King Nebuchadnezzar he starts having these really strange, weird dreams, and he decides that he's going to try to get the Judean court, aka Daniel, to interpret these dreams for him, because it's really creeping him out. So, King Nebuchadnezzar says to the Judean court, he goes, all right, you got to tell me what my dream was first, and then interpret it, so that I know that you're not making this up. So, nobody can do it. What ends up happening is that nobody can do it. So King Nebuchadnezzar decides he's going to kill everybody on the Judean court because they can't interpret his dream, which is a little crazy, but that's what he decides. So Daniel says, wait, give me one more night. Just one more night. Just give me that before you kill me. So king with the weird name says, okay, sure, I'll give you one more night. So that night, Daniel has a vision. Yay, thank goodness. And that is actually where we are in the story now. So Daniel has had this vision, and now he is going to King with the crazy name, King Nebuchadnezzar, to explain the dream and the vision and all of that to the king. So here we go. We're going to start with reading Daniel 2, 31 through 35. I highly recommend that you follow along with me in your Bible because it's really hard and very confusing. But if you can't, I'm going to read it slowly. Try to follow along. This is Daniel, Old Testament, chapter 2, verse 31 through 35. Okay. You were looking, O king, and lo, there was a great statue. This statue was huge, its brilliance extraordinary. It was standing before you, and its appearance was frightening. The head of that statue was of fine gold, its chest and arms of silver, its middle and thighs of bronze, its legs of iron, its feet partly of iron and partly of clay. As you looked on, a stone was cut out, not by human hands, and it struck the statue on its feet of iron and clay, and broke them in pieces. Then the iron, the clay, the bronze, the silver, and the gold were all broken in pieces and became like a chaff on the summer threshing floors, and the wind carried them away, so that not a trace of them could be found. But the stone that struck the statue became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. Okay, that's a really weird, very vivid dream that King Nebuchadnezzar was having. Just throwing that out there, super weird and random. So we're going to keep reading now. This next chunk is Daniel explaining and interpreting the dream for King Nebuchadnezzar. I'm going to break it into chunks because it's just crazy. So we're going to try to do this. All right. This is verse 36 through 45, but again, we're going to break it down. This was the dream. Now we will tell the king its interpretation. You, O king, the king of kings, to whom the God of heaven has given the kingdom, the power, the might, and the glory, into whose hand he has been given human beings, wherever they live, and wild animals of the field, and the birds of the air, and whom he has established as ruler over them all. You are the head of gold. Okay, so this is Daniel. It sounds like he's sucking up to the king. I would too, because the king just had everybody, almost murdered. So I would be sucking up too. But so this is Daniel saying, you, the great king, God has given you all of this awesome stuff. You are the head of the statue in your dream. You are the gold part. All right, let's keep going. After you shall arise another kingdom inferior to yours. Still doing good. And yet a third kingdom of bronze, which shall rule over the whole earth. Okay, so now we have another kingdom who's come in, who's now ruling King Nebuchadnezzar's people. So this is not going so well for him anymore. And there shall be a fourth kingdom, strong as iron, just as iron crushes and smashes everything. It shall crush and shatter all of these. Okay, now it's really not going well for King Nebuchadnezzar. Now we've got this other nation that's come in, or this other kingdom, and it is the iron part of the statue. So all these different metals represent different nations that are coming in after Babylon. So now this guy comes in here and crushes everybody. As you saw the feet and toes, partly of potter's clay and partly of iron, it shall be a divided kingdom. But some of the strength of iron shall be in it, as you saw the iron mixed with clay. Okay. As the toes of the feet were part iron and part clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly brittle. So this is another kingdom that has come in, and this one's going to be kind of strong, but also kind of weak. As you saw the iron mixed with clay, so will they mix with one another in marriage. But they will not hold together, just as iron does not mix with clay. And in the days of those kings, the God of heaven will set up a kingdom that shall never be destroyed, nor shall this kingdom be left to another people. It shall crush all these kingdoms and bring them to an end, and it shall stand forever. Just as you saw that a stone was cut from the mountain, not by hands, and that it crushed the iron, the bronze, the clay, the silver, and the gold, the great God has informed the king what shall be hereafter. The dream is certain and its interpretation trustworthy. Okay, so broken down, all of this is basically saying all the different metals in your dream with this big statue represents all the different nations that are going to come in after yours. And in the end, there's going to be one that's going to crush everybody else, and it's going to be the one that lasts. So I'm looking at my notes up here, sorry. The stone that is cut from the mountain. Let's read this part one more time. It's verse 45. Just as you saw that a stone was cut from the mountain, not by hands, and that it crushed the iron, the bronze, the clay, the silver, and the gold. So in some lessons in the past, we have talked about a mountain. If you can figure this out, I'm very excited. If not, that's okay. The mountain that we have talked about in the past is Mount Zion, right? And what is another name for Zion? We have been over this, but it would be really cool if you remembered. Another name for Zion is Jerusalem. So Jerusalem is this stone here that's going to come and destroy or crush, or whatever the term is, crushed the iron, the bronze, the clay, the silver, and the gold. So Jerusalem is going to take back over. It will one day rise again and be the kingdom of all kingdoms. So Daniel is telling this to King Nebuchadnezzar. Let's not forget. King Nebuchadnezzar is the king of the Babylonians, who was the first nation mentioned in this, who is now buried underneath of all these other nations. And he just took over, let's keep in mind, Jerusalem. So the fact that now he's being told that Jerusalem's going to win and like, you know, at the end of the day, Jerusalem's going to be the thing, that can't be very good. That can't be very awesome for King Nebuchadnezzar. So one little part from this whole big confusing story that we can take out of this, we can start to build one little part of Daniel's character, and that is courage. This guy had to be really, really courageous, very brave to stand up to King Nebuchadnezzar and be like, hey man, actually, your kingdom is not going to last forever. Jerusalem is going to come back on top, and I'm sorry, but like you are not going to be the ruler forever. This is not a dynasty here. This is not going to last. So I think something we can take away from this lesson today on Daniel is being courageous in times when we really, really are terrified. Because think about it, Daniel had to be terrified to tell this guy this. I mean, King Nebuchadnezzar wanted to kill and murder everybody that didn't interpret his dream. And then Daniel comes along and interprets it in a way that I'm sure King Nebuchadnezzar was not happy with. So Daniel was probably terrified in this. And I think it's really cool that we can look at this character and kind of follow that example, especially in this time that we're in right now with all this chaos. And I'm bringing you Sunday school from my house, and it's weird and there's a lot going on. We can take from this character, from this story in the Bible, the example of being courageous and just having faith and trusting in God and knowing that everything is going to work out. There is no question with this. Like, everything is going to work out. And just having that faith and kind of following in the footsteps of Daniel in this time is something that I think we should all challenge ourselves to do. So we are going to continue looking at Daniel over the next couple of days. I'm going to do a devotional on Wednesday, and that'll probably have to do with Daniel because this guy is really cool, and he goes through a lot of stuff, and he goes through a lot of challenges, but the way he handles himself is really neat. So we're going to go over that a little more. That is the lesson for today on Daniel. Please do not forget to use the link in the email that I sent out to sign up for a Zoom chat so we can catch up and see how we're doing. Other than that, I hope you guys are staying healthy and staying well and staying inside, especially on a day like today when it's rainy and gross. I will hopefully talk to you guys soon and hopefully see you later on Zoom. All right, bye.